Chapter 3. Outside, the sky had thickened into a swollen bruise. Rain slashed angrily at the windows, winding in jagged rivulets down the glass like veins. The house seemed to sink beneath it, hunching lower as if bracing itself against some unseen force. The no trespassing sign, nailed crookedly to the fence, dangled in the wind, its rusted screws barely holding. On, then came the sound of tires crunching wet gravel. Headlights slashed through the gloom as a car rolled up the driveway. The parents were home. Paloma Ramos shuffled through the front door, her face pale and drawn, like something was gnawing at her from the inside out. She clutched a cardboard box tightly in her arms, two tightly fingers locked around the corners, like she was afraid it might spring open and spill some unspeakable thing across the floor. Her face was worn, hollow, the kind of tired that looked permanent. She placed the box down on the kitchen table with care, too much care, like she knew exactly what was inside. Miguel followed her in, stepping behind his wife like a shadow. His eyes flicked across the room, sharp, cautious, like a man scanning for predators. The air shifted as he entered, colder now, clinging to the back of Noemi's neck. He wrapped his arms around Paloma's shoulders, pressing his chin to her hair. It wasn't affection, it was something else. Something quieter, heavier, the kind of closeness born not from love, but from two people who had been to hell and back together and found no one left to lean on but each other. "I can't do this anymore," Paloma whispered. Her voice cracked. "It's too hard, my love. They take too much." Miguel barely had time to respond before Paloma's eyes flicked to the far side of the room. She froze. Miguel's gaze followed hers, and together they found Noemi, standing in the living room's dim light. Hatred flared in Noemi's chest, sharp and searing. She knew what they had done to those girls upstairs. She knew it as surely as she knew her own name. How could they? How could any parent do something like that to their children? Where was their humanity? No. They couldn't have any. People with souls didn't do things like that. Monsters didn't have souls. "What are you doing in here?" Miguel demanded, voice sharp. "How did you get in?" "Miguel and Paloma Ramos?" Noemi took a careful step forward. "I'm sorry to catch you off guard. My name's Noemi Green. Child Services sent me." "What do you want?" Paloma's voice was quieter now, colder. "I'm here to check on the welfare of your daughters," Noemi said firmly. "Lily and Gloria." Miguel and Paloma exchanged a look, a nervous flicker of something unspoken. Miguel stepped forward, subtly placing himself between Noemi and his wife. "You shouldn't be here," Miguel said, voice tight. "Yet I am," Noemi replied. "So, can we talk?" Miguel's steps were slow, deliberate as he led her deeper into the room. Paloma followed, hanging back just enough to stay behind her husband's shadow. "Lady," Miguel said, his tone sharpening, "I think you should go." "Mr. Ramos," Noemi shot back, "I'm exactly where I should be. I've met with your girls, and I know what's going on." Paloma's face drained of what little color she had left. Her fingers twitched against Miguel's sleeve, tightening like claws. Her gaze lingered on the staircase, eyes wide and distant, like she was watching something crawl down the steps only she could see. You were upstairs?" Paloma's eyes flicked toward the staircase, her face twisting with dread. The stairs seemed to stretch higher than before, their warped steps winding into a shadow that swallowed the second floor whole. The banister was splintered and flaking, as if fingers had clawed against it for years. The wallpaper peeled in jagged curls, exposing dark, mottled wood beneath. The air seemed colder near the steps, as if something long buried had seeped into the walls and floorboards, something that lingered, breathing just out of sight. "I was," Noemi said. "And what I saw is going to haunt me for the rest of my life." Paloma buried her face in Miguel's shoulder. Her breathing hitched. "I think you need to leave," Miguel said through his teeth. "You're upsetting my wife." "I'm sorry if I upset you," Noemi said, her voice low. "But after what I saw, I'm not leaving without answers." Miguel's face darkened. "Do you have kids?" "No," Noemi said carefully. The air seemed to thin around her. "Yet, here you are. Miguel's smile didn't reach his eyes. In our home? Invading our privacy? I'm here for your girls, Mr. Ramos. Noemi took another step back. Someone has to be. Miguel's expression hardened. Someone. Do you even know what we do for our girls? Noemi clenched her jaw. I know what I saw. You shouldn't be here. Paloma muttered. You need to leave. I'm sorry, but after what I saw, I'm not leaving here without. Get out. Paloma screamed, stepping in front of her husband. Get the fuck out. Miguel grabbed Paloma's waist, trying to calm her. Noemi's hand instinctively shot out to create distance, her other hand sliding into her pocket, her fingers curling tightly. Around the can of mace. Maybe we should all take a breath, Miguel muttered. His voice was softer now, but there was no warmth in it. Let's talk this out. I agree, Noemi said, her voice shaky. In fact, Her words trailed off as something shifted behind Miguel and Paloma, something that twisted the air itself. The world seemed to narrow, her vision tunneling to the shape lingering just beyond them. The room seemed to pull itself tighter, like the walls were inching closer. The air thickened, syrupy and stale. The silence wasn't just empty, it felt like something was listening. Sound vanished, all but the growing, painful ringing in her ears. The space behind Miguel and Paloma blurred, and Noemi's eyes fixed on the shape that seemed to crawl closer. Closer. Lady? Miguel's shout yanked her back into the room. Noemi blinked hard, chest heaving. Are you even listening? Miguel's voice sharpened. We're trying to explain. What's in the box? Noemi said, her voice cutting him off. Miguel's face twitched. What? What's in the box? She repeated, louder this time. Both Miguel and Paloma turned, following her gaze. The cardboard box Paloma had set on the table sagged, its corners, dark and swollen with wetness. A thick, blackish-red trickle had begun to ooze from underneath, winding down the table's edge like a lazy finger crawling toward the floor. Miguel turned back just as Noemi's fingers closed around her mace. Lady, Miguel said, voice low. Calm down. We can explain. He stepped toward her one step, then another. And Noemi struck first. The blast of mace hit him square in the face. Miguel staggered back, clutching his eyes. Miguel! Paloma shrieked. Noemi grabbed her phone, fumbling with the screen as Paloma's shadow lunged toward her. Stay back, Noemi barked, aiming the mace. But Paloma was faster. She snatched the bloody box off the table and hurled it at Noemi. It struck her hard in the chest, the cardboard splitting open. Blood splattered across her shirt, warm and thick. Noemi staggered back, frozen in place. The copper scent flooded her nose, and the world shrank again, sound bleeding away to nothing but the high-pitched ring in her ears. She stared down at her blood-soaked hands, and somewhere inside her mind, something whispered, Run! Chapter 4. Noemi bolted up the stairs, her breath jagged and sharp. Each step groaned beneath her weight, but she didn't stop. Not now. Not when she was so close. The door loomed ahead, pale wood streaked with grime, her only chance. She grabbed the knob and twisted. It didn't budge. Girls! Noemi screamed, slamming her fist against the door. Let me in. Let me in. The floor creaked behind her. Noemi's head jerked to the side. Miguel's shadow stretched up the staircase wall, distorted and swaying as he staggered closer. Come on, she muttered, pounding harder. Her knuckles stung. Miguel's footsteps dragged closer. His breathing, ragged, uneven, filled the air like something sick and rotting. Suddenly, click! The lock turned. The door swung open. Noemi stumbled inside and threw her weight against it just as Miguel's shadow filled the threshold. She slammed it shut. Bam! 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 Lady! Miguel bellowed from the other side. Open the fucking door or you're gonna die. You hear me? Open the door. His fists pounded the wood hard, violent. Each blow rattled the frame. Noemi braced her weight against it, teeth clenched, her muscles trembling. Bam! Bam! And then... silence. Noemi didn't move, didn't breathe, her muscles locked, her body still braced against the door. Then her legs buckled, and she slid to the floor, eyes wide, chest heaving. Papa sounds mad. Noemi's heart stopped. Slowly, she turned her head toward the voice. Lily stood across the room, hair drenched in blood, her face pale and slack. Thick, dark gore dripped from her chin, viscera clinging to her lips like spoiled jelly. Bits of fur clung to her fingers. Something dangled from her hand, wet and dark, trailing in ribbons across the floor. "Maybe he's mad," Lily cooed, her voice soft and sweet. "Because he knows we want to play with you." Noemi's fingers darted into her pockets, desperate, searching, but her mace wasn't there. "Do you want to play with us?" Lily asked. Her smile widened, blood-stained teeth glinting in the dim light. Noemi shook her head, words dying in her throat. "My little sister wants to play with you too," Lily whispered. "See?" Noemi turned, and Gloria's face was inches from hers, wide-eyed and grinning. Her breath smelled like copper and spoiled meat. Gloria leaned in and sniffed Noemi's hair, closing her eyes as though savoring it. "Please," Noemi whimpered. "Don't do this." "Please." Lily pressed a blood-stained finger to her lips. "Shh. We don't want them to hear us." Their hands reaching, fingers. The sisters moved closer, curling like claws. Noemi couldn't scream, couldn't move. All she could do was close her eyes and brace for the worst. Outside, Miguel sat slumped against the wall, his face pale, his breath shallow. Paloma sat beside him, her head buried in her hands. Neither spoke, neither moved. Then came the sound. Muffled at first, it was Noemi's voice, shrill and panicked. Then her scream, jagged and raw, rising and falling, twisting into something choked and wet. Paloma shut her eyes tighter. Miguel let out a breath, shaky, broken. Noemi's screams faded, then stopped altogether. And the house was quiet again.
The final chapter. Did you make it to the end? Let me know in the comments. And whatever you do, don't open that door.